Cuando todo al despertar me habla de los dos. Y aunque tienes corazón para negarla, no hallarás a quien te quiera tanto como yo. Todavía se te nota en la mirada que me extrañas y te mueves por volver. Y en las noches abrazada de la almohada, mi recuerdo enciende el fuego de tu piel. En caso de serio, estoy disponible. Si sabes mi número, cuenta conmigo. Correrme hasta tu puerta, dispuesto a pagar esta sed que te quema. En caso de serio, abriendo mis brazos, iré a rescatarte de todas las penas. Verás que esperar nos está consumiendo. El amor como el nuestro no tiene final. I shall return. Whether you feel come fight, hear them. Forget me not and I shall return. I know if not, but not really. Todavía se te nota en la mirada que me extrañas y te mueres por volver. Y en las noches abrazada de la almohada, mi recuerdo enciende el fuego de tu piel. En caso de serio, estoy disponible. Ya sabes mi número, cuenta conmigo. Correrme hasta tu puerta, dispuesto a pagar esa sed que te queda. En caso de serio, abriendo mis brazos, iré a rescatarte de todas las penas. Verás que esperar nos está consumiendo. Si amor como el nuestro no tiene final.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to Community and Finance on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. How you doing? I want to say big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Wagwan. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Tapping into my more linguistic side, you know. Comment ça va? Sac passé. Il va aumenta. Boy, I feel bossy. I'm multilingual. I want to welcome you all to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Big ups to all those who are locked in wherever you're locked in from. Much love to those on TuneIn Radio. The night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Big ups to those who are hailing from across the pond. One Harmony Radio. Top of the morning to you guys in the UK. Much love to those in New Jersey. NIE Radio. Big ups to you. Those locked in New York, on Island worldwide, exhibiting the power of music. Much love to you. Big ups to the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. Mr. Lindsay, how you do? Big ups to those who are hailing out of Texas on any of the 3 platforms over there. Hollywood Radio, Dusic Media Group, and the WGLRO, home of the Donnie Walker Morning Show. Taking from the sheets to the streets, touching from Detroit to Denmark and all points in between. Big ups to ya. Big ups to those who are hailing in from on Clubhouse. Big ups to you. Those on Facebook Live, much love to you. You guys remember it's only a segment broadcast, so don't get too comfortable. Come on over to kevinstew.com, home of the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, where you're invited and reminded to have acceptance through enlightenment. Big ups to my family over there on PEMGTV.com. Much love to you. Can't leave you guys out. Inviting you to call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too, because we're not leaving anybody out. You are all welcome. En caso de incendio. What? The sound of Kass Smith working out the duty ass, kicking us off tonight. Wanna say big ups to my sponsors, the Pulse Media Group, and being in the moment is priceless. Give them a call. What can they do for you? Everything you see here on kevinstew.com and more. They host kevinstew.com, that's the first thing. But beyond that, you have an event that you want to stream live on a secure platform, whether yours or theirs, give them a call. 754-999-1140. So it's a church service, a wedding, a funeral, a seminar, a party, you name it, a graduation. Call them up. 754-999-1140. Tell them Kevin Stew sent you. I want to say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience. Give her a call, 954-655-9000. That's 954-655-9000. Or email her at thealater@att.net. That's THEALATER@att.net. She only has one request outside of paying her. Get off her table and go sleep somewhere else. She's gotta go. We call that the Kevin Stew clause, because I always fall asleep. I want to say thank you to Reggae Global Entertainment. Reggae Global will act as your booking agent, handle your tour management, take care of your publishing, trademark, business registration, legal service referrals, music production, marketing and promotion, and so much more. Check them out at reggaeglobal.com. Contact them, find out what they can do for you, and tell them you heard about them from Kevin Stew. Thank you to McNeil Trucking. With McNeil Trucking, you're in good hands. They're licensed and insured movers. So you want to move from here and get to there? Not too sure how you're going to get about doing it? Kind of stressed out about the whole moving thing? Don't worry about it. Call up McNeil Trucking, 954-406-9740. That's McNeil Trucking. Thank you, McNeil Trucking. So if you're wondering what is going on, Kevin, I've never heard you play this song. Don't worry about it. There's a reason why I'm playing this song. And you'll hear this song more often. I know you've heard one of his other songs. This is Kass Smith. You've heard me play Journeys. And so we're embarking on a bit of a journey tonight on this community and finance night. Once again, if you haven't done so yet, please call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, and your enemies too. Share it with somebody. With me, I'll get an explanation tonight about this one here. We're not, first of all, I'm getting an explanation about this. And Kass will then send you. Come. Let's talk about this one here because I need to know what is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you. Most of you have seen the post, so I don't even need to go much further. I present to you the man of the moment, the one and only Kass Smith. Kass.
Yeah, man. How you stay? You good?
I am good, man. How are you?
Excellent. Bless up. Thanks for playing the song. I say it's a little bit different from what you probably normally play.
No, it's not that different, you know. It's just that people haven't heard me play this one yet.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
But it not that different. Welcome to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Yours truly as the host. What I didn't tell you in our communications really is this is your show. It's the Kass show, and I'm just facilitating it. That's really what is happening tonight. It's the Kass Smith show. So.
Yes. All right. We'll run with it. We'll just run with it.
All right. Cool. So. I titled tonight's broadcast Journeys because I'm ready to be taken on a journey.
Yes.
One of the really interesting things, the first thing that caught my eye when I got the email from Reggae Works about your project was your name. Kass, which, funny enough, is all my initials put together. Kass.
Okay, wicked. Yes. No coincidence, man. Coincidences don't exist.
Yeah, those things don't exist. Right. This was supposed to happen. So, first off, for those who don't know Kass Smith, who is Kass? So,
well, me, Kass, full name, Roger Yale Cassiano Smith. I was born in Jamaica, Hopewell, close to Montego Bay.
Okay.
I went to school in Jamaica. Yeah, man, Mobile, man.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Carmel College, then Com College, then University of the West Indies, and the whole time I did a management degree. But the whole time I was singing, I was singing the whole time, North Coast type stuff, And then back in the 1989, I did the first album called Showtime. A classmate of mine did that was Benji Myers. You know Benji.
Oh,
Benji
yes.
was the one who produced that album. Yeah, man. Actually, Naveen Sutherland did back up on that album.
What?
And then the opportunity. Yeah, man. Interesting. There's some cover songs and those and two originals on that song, on that album. Cassette was at that time.
Nice.
And then, yeah, man. And then I moved to Mexico. I got an opportunity to come to Mexico to perform. I live in Mexico. Right now, I'm actually in Connecticut. I'm actually pull over in the car right now because I was driving somewhere. So I'm at my brother's place. Basically, what it is, I live in Mexico. I've been living in Mexico for about 32 years. I came to Mexico, signed with Capitol Records. And one of the conditions that they gave me was that I had to learn Spanish within 3 months to be able to get a record deal before the year was up. That was way back in 1991.
Oh, wow.
Roughly about that time. Signed the album. I got a 4-year album deal, a 3-album, 4-year album deal with them. And one of the songs on that album was a song called Ay Cosita Linda, which was a cover version of a song that was very old in Latin America at that time. But I did it in dancehall. That was the first time dancehall was really introduced to Mexico. It was me and the General. I don't know if you remember General.
Yeah.
That was before. Yeah, man. That was before them started about reggaeton and stuff. Because I know so reggaeton is basically dancehall.
Right.
I really feel music,
Right.
So that was a big hit. In Mexico. It was really basically a Latin sound with a Jamaican percussive type, Kumina type beat to it, with like a dancehall flavor.
Yeah.
And it went very well in Mexico. So that made a big hit in Chile, Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela. And I just went on tour at that time, opening for Spice Girls, Julio Iglesias, Paul Anka. We did a lot of big shows at that time. You know? And it's been uphill ever since.
Wow. Wait, so this we're talking about starting from back when you said?
Back in the 90s, early 90s. I mean, the song made a hit in 1994. By then, my Spanish, I learned enough Spanish within 3 months to be able to write the song, which we had to produce the song, which was "Ay cosita linda mama soñaba que me querías soñaba," and that was a big hit in Mexico. I mean, a lot of Mexicans are actually listening to your program right now because they're on my platforms and people in Colombia are actually listening.
Gotcha.
Saludos a mi gente de México, les mando saludos. Saludos, nos vemos muy pronto allá. So make a big hail up to them, you know.
Yeah,
so,
what he said. What he said.
So that song was a big hit in Mexico, and it just opened a lot of doors, you know.
Right.
For the whole time, I was very into the spiritual part of everything, you know. I was always questioning everything, you know, about God, about what they told us, about why is it that 17 years of Jesus' life was removed from the Bible.
Yeah.
And I would always question that, you know, there was something there, you know, and I was always delving and questioning and going deeper and deeper and deeper. Because if you look at the whole history of mankind, a lot of stuff was justified to maintain an economic stability. In other words, slavery was justified in the Bible on an economic level, basically. So I went into an investigation, very deep investigation of understanding what went down. And I was not surprised that we had been lied to. So I started doing a lot of teachings. I started teaching a lot of people how to move up from mental, emotional, and spiritual blockages and create abundance in every aspect of their life. So apart from the singing, I actually teach holistically. I do a lot of courses in Mexico and all over. So that brings up to probably about, at that time, things that really rough with me. You know, you're living in a foreign country, and at that time, my first son had a major accident. He was 3 years old and he had a major accident. A statue fell on him. And wait.
Sorry. You said a statue fell on him?
Yes.
All right. Because, you know, this is, you know, all right. So how old was he at the time?
He was 3 years old at the time.
All right. So we know children tend to be mischievous. They go here, they go there, they touch this, they touch that, they put things in their mouth, they climb on things, you know, fearless.
Right.
A statue fell on him.
Yes, that is correct.
Was he climbing on the statue?
Yes, he climbed upon it and just fell down on top of it. So
children.
At that time, he got fractured. He had 21 fractures in his face.
Oh, no.
He had to do reconstructive surgery. Yeah, had to do reconstructive surgery. He had to do 8 surgeries at that time. Just to reconstruct his whole face. He had to remove his left eye and just reconstruct the sockets and all of that. And that whole time, I was going through a lot of, obviously, financial pain and struggling, because at that time, I was with a music union and I had an insurance policy, which they refused to pay. So, you know, so when you get sick, you do anything. You understand me? Struggles and things.
Right.
So I went into it. I sell what I have. I sell my car, that piece of property that I bought. I sell that. My parents, my mother and my father, mortgage them house and help out and stuff.
And this is in Mexico?
The first. Beg pardon?
This is in Mexico?
This happened in Mexico. My parents was in Jamaica. My parents was in Jamaica at that time, you know.
Okay.
So my mother, people from Hopewell, Eula Lee Smith, JP, a teacher from Hopewell, you know. And my father, may he rest in peace, he has passed on. Wesley Smith at a construction company at that time. So, you know, parents, you know, Jamaicans always, anything that with our family, everybody just come together and help, you know.
Right.
So,
old time Jamaica.
Time, we just come together and deal that. So that was the first surgery, but he still had another 7 to go.
Right.
And it was a rough period because financially things were rough, you know. So you sell everything. And I remember it was so interesting, you know. I went to a flea market one day because I decided I'd come out on one of the biggest TV shows at that time, which was called Siempre en Domingo. And that program was broadcasted to about 150 million people worldwide. It's the biggest thing. It was with television. It was a big thing.
What's that? Simple Sunday?
Paul Anka about. I beg pardon?
What does that translate to? Siempre de Domingo.
Televisa?
No.
Siempre en Domingo is always on Sunday.
Oh, always on Sunday.
Always on Sunday, right. So this gentleman, his name was Raul Velasco. he did all the biggest artists. Michael Jackson was on that show. It was more like a Johnny Carson, a Mexican version of the Johnny Carson show.
Got
It
you.
was very, very big at that time.
Got you.
So I was invited to that show, but you're the band show, the band tour, money that I make, it's a promotional thing,
Right.
And about 3 weeks afterwards, things got really rough. I tried to get money for my son. I remember going to a flea market at that time and just take anything that me have to sell, some CDs, some pots and pans, some plates and whatever, whatever, just to make a money to take care of this thing.
Right.
And this lady came up to me and she goes, "You're Jamaican, right?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "All the Jamaicans look alike." And I said, "Why you say that?" You just look so much like this guy, Kass Smith. You look exactly like him. At the time she never realized I knew. But
Wait.
she'd never believe me if I told her. But you keep your head high and you
Yes.
do anything for your children, which is obviously legal and honorable.
Right.
So
Right.
we went through that and he was healed and the surgeries went on for several years. And during that time, it was a rough period. And that was the time when I wrote the song Journeys. Way yo, na 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 na. Way yo, na 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 na. And just connect to the essence of God within me to just come out of all of those things. So that was when one of the songs was written in this album. And it's the first time it is being released. That song was written in 1998. And it's the first time it's actually being released on this album.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It that gives a whole different appreciation of the song.
Yeah,
I've been playing Journeys since I got the email last week. I've been playing it last week, the week before, somewhere around there. And
yes.
it wasn't the song that really caught me, but your story.
Thanks.
And you said, you born and grew in Jamaica, went to school in Jamaica, but then ended up moving to Mexico.
Yeah. Puerto Vallarta.
There are a few places that typically growing up in Jamaica, you hear of people migrating to. UK, Canada, the USA. Mexico is not really one on the list. Even Panama.
That's correct.
How did that happen? Give us take us
I
on
was
that part of the
performing. I remember I
journey.
was performing. Yeah, I was performing at the Breezes. At that time, it was called Jamaica
Yeah.
Hotel, which was on Runaway Bay. So at that time, actually, Richard Stevens was down there at that time. There was the Wright brothers and Richard Stevens to be there.
Right.
Diana King also was singing on the North Coast as well at that time, and in that particular band, so do backup for me and stuff, and that that's way back in the late 80s. And one night, this gentleman came to my show. I had won the Best New Artist Award. At that time, I used to do a show with a magic show. And everybody knew me as Cassiano. And if you go online, you might look for Kass Smith or Cassiano. It's the same, it's the same name that comes up,
Right.
So he came to my show one night and he says to me, I have a job for you in Mexico. I said, I want to go Mexico, man. Can we go Vegas? I want to go to Mexico. So he said, I'm serious. I'm very serious. I take you to Mexico with me. So anyway, next night I had a show at the Sandals, which is Notorious. And the same man turned up to the show. And he said, you don't take me serious. I'm very serious. I know you play for me. Anyway, long story short.
No, man, you have time. You can tell the story, man.
Huh?
You have time. You tell the story.
Yeah, man. Long story short. Invited me to come to Mexico. I came to Mexico. At that time, by then I had a degree. I'd finished university. I graduated with the honors degree in management at university. And I'd worked a lot, performing in the Sandals Hotel and with the Breezes, the Super Clubs chain. So I had a lot of management experience in terms of entertainment and that type of stuff. So when I was brought to Mexico, I went there to actually sing.
Yes.
But the week after I went there, the entertainment manager resigned. So they gave me the job as a corporate entertainment director for the Radisson Chains Hotel in Mexico. So what I did was that I reorganized the whole hotel into an all-inclusive. At that time, the all-inclusive in Mexico was very new. The only chain at that time was the Maeva hotels. But the Super Clubs type, Sandals type entertainment, when you get people like dance and then do the reggae thing, and then, that was very new in Mexico. So I brought that to Mexico at that time, but my passion was for singing. So I would do this show on Friday nights at the hotel, which was like a staff and guest show, and I would actually perform on this while I was looking for a recording company. So I sent out some demos, the same album I recorded in Jamaica when Benjamin was the producer. I sent it out to a recording company, and Any Music was the one who responded and said, yo, if you learn Spanish within 3 months, We will sign you, my friend. We will sign you. So that's where it go. Long story short, 30
Huh.
odd years later, this is where I'm at. Yeah.
So, and which ties into that first story that you told, that you learned those, what, 5 lines. That was pretty much what got you started for that
Yes,
song.
yes. I mean, at that time when they told me that I had to learn Spanish within 3 months, I was learning anywhere between 25 to 30 words per day. I would just sit down and just get a magazine and a dictionary and just learn the words, learn the words, learn the words. So I really never took a Spanish class per se. It
Right.
would be so long because you have to conjugate verbs, and the whole structure of the English and the Spanish is very
Yes.
different. So I
Yes.
just went in terms of what is called practical Spanish, just being able to speak to people, speak to workers, and that type of stuff.
Right.
So I
Right.
learned very fast because I had a mission. My mission was really to just conquer this thing and just conquer this language. And the only way to actually survive in any country, the first thing you have to do, understand the culture, respect the people, and learn the language.
Yes.
So that's what it was.
So in the hotel, with the taking on the task of managing the entertainment in this hotel, and then bringing your own spin to it to restructure, redesign this hotel chain. Were you met with any kind of resistance, being that you're coming in from a land far away?
That's a very good question. The first resistance I got was racism. It was very interesting that in a modern time like that, there was actually racism existing in Mexico, not only towards black, but as a class racism as well, where there's a whole structured implicit type racism as it relates to the indigenous people, first of all.
Right.
So you're thinking about the Huichol Indians, the Mayans, the Aztecs, descendants, there's racism toward them. But also in my case, being black was also a very challenging situation. And my kids actually saw that in the school environment as well too. Later on, my daughter, when she was young, she went through that too. And I had to literally being able to see racism is out of ignorance here.
Yeah.
Kevin. Any way you take it is out of ignorance. And you cannot fight racism with anger. You cannot fight racism with violence. The fastest way to do it and the easiest way to do it is to educate people. Because
Correct.
children, you look at children playing in the classroom stage, they're 3 years old, they're 2 years old, no matter them play with each other.
Yes.
But where I started seeing that in my child's school environment, because obviously she was, it's a private school and it's a bilingual school. My children speak 3 languages, speak English, Spanish, and French. And I was very adamant on
Nice.
them,
Yeah.
in a family environment to really put that as a structure, So what had happened at that time was that my daughter was met with serious racism at school. And she was bullied because of that. I just decided to say, yo, this have to stop. So I was literally on Children's Day, which was the 1st of April every year. I just brought my reggae band to school and just do a big show with them, and my daughter would come on stage and sing. 25 years later now, she finished her degree and she's actually going on tour with me right now. So she overcame that, but it was a very tough period that went on for a very long time.
Yeah, I can see how that would be challenging. But
Yeah.
so what were you telling the children, your children, as they came home with the stories of, being bullied and being outcast? You dealing with this as an adult. First response, I guess, would be to oppose it, to go down there and challenge it, and make a stink about it. But what were you doing at home?
Marcus Garvey, Bob Marley, Martin Luther King. You name all the biggest, the strongest leaders. Jesus Christ. You look at the great African kings and how powerful we were and how powerful we are. And basically we have been lied to, and to believe that our reality comes out of the slave ship that came across. And they do not tell us that we were powerful kings and queens long before that.
Yes.
So I focused on that. As a matter of fact, my daughter at that time, when my son was born, my daughter literally put all photographs of those, even Usain Bolt in our living room. I saw this one Bolt on the wall, you know, and Marcus Garvey and then Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali, and she was put the whole room with all these great black athletes, these black performers. Merlin Atty, which is a family cousin of our family as well too. So all of that was there.
Nice.
And just to listen, stop. What them tell you is a lie. You know, you're much bigger than that. And that was the way I did that. Just going back, not only in terms of my ancestors and the people who have been very strong, politically or economically or financially, but also going back to your own DNA, your own power that you have inside.
Right.
And what I call the survival gene, which a lot of people don't realize what is happening, because there's a lot of information that's been taken from us. There is an actual gene that is in descendants of slaves that are not in the genes of the Africans who are left in Africa.
Really?
And this is a scientific fact. Yes, sir. This is a scientific fact. People don't say it, and one of my great friends is actually a genealogist, and she's a DNJ. She has a doctorate in DNA programming. And basically what it is that transatlantic travel from Africa to the West Indies, where slaves were packed on each other.
Yes.
Most of them died, but the strongest one that survived, they actually created this DNA that was out of these restrictive areas where the body actually produced it. And if you looked at it, they actually survived mentally and emotionally to be able to make this travel. And what has happened is that the descendants of those slaves are you, me, everybody's on this side of the world. And you can actually there's a DNA straight that you can prove it, where you can see this straight that is in the descendants of the slaves that are not in Africans who have not traveled. And they call it the survival gene. And it has been discussed a lot and disputed a lot, but it's difficult to dispute it when it is physically there in front of you.
Right.
And what does that mean? It means that we have this extra power, this extra willpower that is within us that pushes us to go further and further. You look at the sports world, you look at the greatest singers, the greatest football players, the greatest basketball players. You see it. You're going to see descendants from these very, very strong African powers, these African powerhouses. And that's what we are. And the album that I bring out now, it has taken me literally 20 years to bring it to the surface. The producer of it is Dean Fraser and Mikey Bennett, powerhouse as well.
Yes.
It was recorded in Vineyard Town. That particular song that you hear right now, which is called In Caso de Incendio, was actually recorded by Mago, who's a very talented Venezuelan producer. But the rest of the album was actually produced by Dean Fraser and Mikey Bennett. And I chose them to do that because I wanted to get the authentic Jamaican sound to it. So I'm going to go back a year ago do it. I know this wasn't done here in Mexico. I literally went back to Jamaica to do it. And I recorded the album about 8 years ago. And it's the first time it's being released because, things come first, family come first. And then I'm building a holistic resort here in Mexico. It took up a lot of time here. So, and it's just time to push it out now.
All right. I'm going to want to touch on that holistic resort.
Yes, sir.
But in caso de incendio, translate and explain for me, please.
Okay, in caso de incendio basically means in case of fire. In other words, if you feel the heat, call me in ticks, I can quench your thirst. It's a very two-sided sexual connotation. It's actually goes from a situation of personal experience sometimes. Sometimes you're in a situation where emotionally, the energy is there, the love is there, but because of financial reasons, people make a decision and move on,
Right.
If you look at the video, you can check the video. The video is Kass Smith in Caso de Incendio. It's actually on YouTube right now. And thanks a lot. It started off last week with 152 views. I mean, look at it a while ago, it's like 10,000 views in like 6 days, It's
well, you're a hit. You're a hit,
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. And basically what it tells a story of this guy, a black guy and stuff, and basically, man, this girl a deal, but, she want more, and he cannot afford it. He might drive a bug, and him give her all of these things. Him like to meditate. The video opens with a chi energy charging of the hands, which is what I teach in most of my courses, because we all have the power to heal ourselves. The body naturally heals itself. The leukocytes go and then fight and then heal us from diseases.
Yes.
And the word dis-ease is a very interesting word that we don't really understand. You know, once your body is in harmony, your body is at ease. When your body comes out of harmony, it's at dis-ease. And that's where the word disease comes from.
Yes.
So one of the fastest ways to heal yourself holistically is to go back into that harmonious space of being.
Right.
So the beginning of the video shows me actually showing somebody how to charge the chi energy in their hand, which is called a chi ball, to use to heal. And you can use it to heal cancer, diabetes, all type of stuff, you know, but that's a different conversation. And basically the song basically says this, you know, in Kass Incendio, he says, todavía pienso en ti cada mañana. Every morning when I wake up, I think of you. Cuando todo al despertar me habla de los dos. But everything around you remind me of you, remind us of us. And basically it says, even though you try to deny it and you try to get away from it, you always think of me. You think of the power, you think of the love, you think of the yard feel. So she turns around and she's in bed with this older guy. And, you know, obviously, you know, say, why him really can't take care of her at that level. And the whole song actually speaks about that, you know, coming back to me. But at the end of the video, it shows him now having a family. And it's like it's difficult for them to actually come back together because she's in a different space and he's in a different space. So that's what the whole song goes about.
Oh, wow. And, you know, there's so much reality in it. There's so much truth in it. There's so much. What inspired you to, before you even answer that question of what inspired you to write it, I want to let the people on Facebook and Clubhouse know that this is where we're going to part company. There was one bit of housekeeping that I did not do. Please pardon me. It kind of breaks up my flow, the vibe that I was feeling. But I kind of need to put this in there because it's business. So the madness continues. Some of you know that I am a Mary Kay consultant and I got into it for skincare. And so for the month of March, the Satin Hands set is available to you with 50% off the pink clay mask. So go to my website, marykay.com/Kevin Stew, and order yourself a satin hand set. Put the pink clay mask in the basket also. I will mark it down 50% and you will get your packages. So for the month of March, the madness continues. Just to take care of that little bit of business. Thank you, Kass. I appreciate all of that. And Facebook Live.
Yeah, man, anytime, man.
Clubhouse, deuces to you. Come on over to kevinstew.com where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment because that's what we do, right? Come on over. We're going to part company now. Until next time. Cool. China Nicole, big up your status. Much love to you, sis. And Jan, welcome. All right, so I got my hellos from them and I telling them to come over to kevinstew.com. So parting company there. All right. So what's the story behind writing that song? Because you're starting out with this teaching someone how to generate this chi energy. And so there's a personal side to the video. Because you yourself very involved, but is this the song was your writing?
Actually, the song was written by a friend of mine named Henry Posada.
Okay.
What I did at that time, I went out and I gave the actual theme to certain writers to bring it in terms of what I chose. This song was actually written many years ago. I recorded it in banda music, Mexican banda music, but I never released it because I think it was more for a Latin Jamaican audience at that time. So what I did was I wrote the whole structure of the song, what I wanted to transmit. And that's how the whole thing came about in terms of, you know, speaking of something that happened with me in my life. And it happened to a lot of people too. You know, it's not everybody who you're in a relationship with, you end up marrying and having the rest of your life with. You know?
True.
So
that's where
the whole thing came from. But when the video was concerned, in terms of actually producing the video, I chose at that time to really put my imprint in terms of the direction I want to go for people to wake up and realize that there's more than what you see. There's a big illusion in terms of what is happening in our space right now. And we have moved away so much from the essence of who we are, because what it is, the word human beings means that we're being human, which means that our natural essence is spirit. And people don't really understand that. People don't realize that we're spirit having this human experience.
Yes.
And that's what the word human being is. So once you take it from that perspective of understanding spirit, it's much easier to heal and it's more easier to create emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial abundance. And one of the things I will tell you is that the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, is what you do with that love is like this. So they will expect you and to be into a stage of lack while the pastor are driving Beamer and him have a big house on top of the hill and you have to take bus and a ride bicycle. You understand me?
That's
so what
right.
I teach in my holistic courses is for people to create abundance, and not only emotional, physical, spiritual, but also financial abundance, because that is important.
Yes.
So the opening of the video is basically, first of all, learning how to charge this energy in your hands. And once you go into a space where your whole body is vibrating at a very high stage, which we're talking about over 200,000 cycles per second, I'll explain that to you in a while. You're into a space of actually having stuff come to you in terms of manifestation. And that's basically the law of attraction, as it is.
Now, I don't know if you can read what is on my shirt. Where it says...
Well, let me put on my glasses here, so I become an icon of darks.
No, I can tell you. It's not a big deal. I can tell you. This particular shirt says, "From knowledge sprouts power." Right?
Yes, sir.
I have another one that says, "Here to stimulate your appetite, not satisfy your hunger," and another one that says, "Have acceptance through enlightenment." So as I'm hearing you talking, I'm hearing certain things that resonates with me to my very core. And I do 3 broadcasts. This one here, community and finance. I do one health, and I do one real talk, which is interpersonal relationships and the psychology behind it and why we do some of the things we do. And I am hearing all these aspects of me being presented back to me through you. And I'm like, ain't this something?
Yeah, man, that's what it is. As I said, there's no coincidence, you know.
Yeah, no such
we
thing.
Vibrate to the space of what we choose to bring into our space to be able to move up in consciousness.
Yes.
And all these codes, everything is coded. Everything is coded. Most of these codes that I speak about and I teach about, they're actually in the Bible. Most of them have been distorted, but the truth is right in the bottom of it, you know. When they say the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That's the biggest code that I learned when I was very, very young. Because I learned to read at a very early age. By the time I was 3, I was actually reading. Because I would help my grandmother to do a Bible study. She was a Seventh-day Adventist. So every Friday, you know, I would go and read with her. So by the time I was 7, I started to see a lot of inconsistencies in the Bible. And there was a lot of stuff that was removed that didn't make sense. And so I used to question it from that time. And my mom, she was school teacher and principal and that type of stuff. And she always pushed us to question everything. So I did that all of my life. And then I started going and said, hold on there. How come when Jesus was on the temple floor and them out there and them a gamble, and him come out with a big whip and he whip them and he wear them run and go so. And then after some there's no mention of Jesus Christ until him come back when he was 29 when John the Baptist baptized him. Where did he go for 17 years? And he couldn't answer me that in the church. I mean, ask the pastor and him said, that is blasphemous. Don't answer that. I said, well, that not so normal. The man has been missing for 17 years and there's no mention. And he did not do a miracle before. When he came back, he started the miracle. So I said, didn't he go and learn? No, sir, blasphemous that. You can't answer that. And he said, these things ye shall do in my name, which means that we also have the power to do so. So I teach that to me. Teach people to go and bring the power of God within them at a different level. You understand?
You see, here we go. Boy, Kass, it's a reason why tonight's broadcast named Journeys, you know, because we're taking us places. You're taking us places. So
Yes, sir.
I talk about some of these things on my Wednesday broadcast, Real Talk.
Yes.
And it kind of seems like I am going out there off on some tangent or something. But why are we not questioning these things? You know, why last week, the week before, I think it was, I had the very true conversation about what we have learnt from the Bible.
Yes.
And I have nothing against the Bible. I grew up in church. I started
All of
playing
us.
music in church. I became a musician because of church. I taught music in church. The works. But when it comes to teachings of the church, it always makes me tilt my head to the side a little bit and raise an eyebrow and think. I'm always questioning something, but I was always afraid to talk. And I ended up doing this. How did I end up becoming a talk show host? Goodness knows. I was invited to play music. I ended up doing talk. And all the affiliates, big ups to the affiliates, One Harmony Radio, NIE Radio, Island Worldwide, PEMGTV.com, WGLRO, Olewap Radio, ClintonLindsay.com, the Foundation Radio Network, all my affiliates primarily play music. But they carry this broadcast. So clearly I am being told that there is something that I am doing right.
Totally.
Hearing you talk about teaching your children certain things, reminding them of the heritage, the true heritage that they have, being descendants of powerful men and women, kings and queens, and of which that was robbed. And they were traded into slavery and being taught a different mentality. But yet still through that, learning of something that is so unique to that experience. Because this is the first time I'm hearing about the survivor gene. Never heard of it.
Yeah, man. Never heard of it before?
Never heard of it.
Wait until we tell about the pyramids now and the secrets of the pyramids.
Yeah, man, we're
It has
talking
been taken
tonight.
away from us.
People, I hope
gonna
you are
do that.
paying attention. People pay attention. If you want to say hi to Kass, remember the phone lines are open. You can do that. 773-789-STEW. 773-789-7839. I'll tell you one more time so that you remember. 773-789-7839. Numbers to get you in touch. You can call, text, WhatsApp, Telegram. All those work. There, you're watching, it's scrolling across the bottom of your screen right there, 773-789-7839. So, we're talking with Kass Smith. Some of you might have known him as Cassiano. Back in the day, he's using Kass Smith first and last name. Well, like,
Middle and last
middle and abbreviation of the middle and the last name. Because the man named Roger. But according to the
my name is Roger Yale Cassiano Smith.
Yeah.
And when I went to Mexico, I had to put my mother's maiden name on my legal documents. So it was actually Sinclair. So my name is Roger Yale Cassiano Smith Sinclair. So everybody from Karma College, Roger Smith from Wopple, everybody know me. Say, hey, Roger, I'm CM1 man. Me CM1.
Yeah. and it's interesting how with Hispanic cultures, they have that where you get that introduction of that mother's maiden name with your name. Someone calling in here. Greetings and salutations to you. Hello? Hello? Greetings and salutations. How are you?
I am great, and you?
I'm well. You're live on air with myself and Kass Smith.
We're calling from the family of Kass Smith.
Oh, yeah, Kass, you hearing them?
What, so they're calling from the family, she said?
Yeah.
Yes,
Your family. So your
Bless up.
which of the family members would this be by chance?
This is Cassiano's sister-in-law.
Okay, all right. Yes, hello. Bless up.
Well, welcome. So let me ask you, sister. I'm gonna ask you because the law part we're not even worried about it. You're a sister. So with Kass, if you could mute that in the background for me, please, sister.
No, the background.
because you and I talking now, and that is going to distract you. All right, so tell me something about Kass here. You know, when you became a part of the family and you met Kass, what was your take on him? Hello?
Hello, yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
He's very energetic, he's vibrant, he's inspirational. He's a person you can learn from.
Yeah. So
Very educated, someone that we can learn from, you know. People
so
that are,
when you first met him, you didn't think that he was a little bit out there? You didn't think he was just kind of different from the rest and wondered what was going on with him?
not really, you know, because his mom, as he said, is very take care. You know, and his brother, they're welcoming, they're warm,
Yes.
you know. So, close to his family. What you see is what you get. He's very plain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, down to earth, inspirational person. You know, somebody always saying right from wrong. We look up to him as a family. He's a great young man,
Oh, nice.
very, very educated. Yes.
So you're the wife of the big brother or little brother?
I'm wife of the big brother.
Oh. Okay. So,
Yeah, man.
so when
So it's an interesting question you're saying, Stu, about,
yeah.
you know, if you didn't think I was weird, because a lot of people, obviously, when you reach show communicating stuff like this, not
Yes.
everybody can vibrate to that and understand it.
Exactly, and that was why I asked.
Sometimes it's totally off, you know. But I think everybody knew me from a small. I was a little bit different, you know. I always questioning stuff and, you know, learning stuff always. You know, it's learn to do magic and learn to do this, and then I learned to fly, and then I buy a plane and that type of stuff. So I think basically after a while, you know, people know that I'm always on the edge of looking at stuff, and I try to push my children in the same direction as well, you know. So
Okay, nice. Sister-in-law, I thank you for giving a shout out and giving us that little bit of personal insight into Kass. Because, you know, it's one thing to get the information from him. You know, when you have people like you calling in and saying, hey, you know, here's a real piece of Kass.
Oh, yeah. His mom is coming to say hello to him, so.
Bring her on, man. Bring her on. Tell anybody else in the family to line up too.
We have a whole bunch here. We had a birthday party this weekend, and he performed. It was very awesome.
Nice. Kass, my birthday coming up in November. Yeah, line up yourself.
come on, man, come into that. Definitely. You know that. And you're down in Florida, so not that
Yes.
cold. We can't take the cold, you know. I mean,
Right.
it's chilly for me right now in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. And after I came in and we're going back down to Mexico on Thursday, so, you know.
Oh, nice. Mommy, are you
Hello.
there? Good greetings and salutations to you. Good evening.
I'm really elated to have to be speaking with him on the phone. He he was very different from he was little.
Mm-hmm.
Always want to do things that his age was not supposed to be doing, experimenting.
Yes.
I'm dumbfounded to actually be watching him and knowing that he has reached to this level, but I'm not surprised.
Mm.
He was like that from he was a child. He
Yes.
would do things that his brother wouldn't do, anybody wouldn't do. You have to be watching him 6-10 times per day because he was different. And now that he has reached this stage, you can see it growing from at that stage.
Mm.
I tried to foster everything that he wanted to do. His father did.
Yes.
With singing, would get all the instruments that he wanted, all the machetes to do karate with when he has a tutor. And whenever they are doing the karate thing, I had to go inside because I couldn't watch him swinging the machetes with the teacher and all those things. He was so different, and I am very proud and elated to actually be the mother of such a fantastic guy. I love him, and we all love him. He is a beacon on the hill for us,
Yes.
and we thank him, and I wish him the best of everything for all his kids. And I am standing behind him as a mommy, and a grandma, as a lover, as a influencer of his life,
Yes.
and hope that everything will go well with him. And I'm still alive. I'm almost 80 years old.
You sound
I'm
quite
happy.
sprightly.
She sounds young and sprightly, don't you?
Yeah, man.
His bigger brother had his 60th birthday just yesterday, and he was here, and he tore down the house with love and music, and you could see me dancing to music. Hello, honey, I love you with all my heart.
Wow.
Lots of
Love you
love.
too, Mama. Love you too. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you so much.
Mommy, tell me this.
Alright.
Tell me real quick, Mommy. When you heard, because I'm pretty sure with him being a little bit different in the community, questioning things differently, moving differently, that people were coming to you saying things. Am I right?
Saying what?
People were coming to you saying things, questioning your boy. Is he okay? You want to get him checked out? You're going to get
No,
him checked
no.
Did-
Oh, they wouldn't question that, because I am the type of person that allow my children to expand their life, and as a teacher in the community,
Yes.
everybody wouldn't ask that. They would want to talk to him. They would want to be his friend. He would teach them to play card. He would teach them all type of things. He would drive away his father's brand new car when he was 6, drive it from up the yard straight into the house, mash it up, and his father said to him, "Chicken, they go big your feet and foot, pull back the car, take it back to the garage," and that was it. Not another word said. So he was different.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, all right.
And
You crashed
his
the car when
bigger
that was-
brother had
that
to
was
be
true.
running behind him to keep him from doing things that he's not supposed to do.
Mommy.
All right.
He has a lot
Yes,
Hi,
mommy. All right.
my
Thank
friend.
you.
He has a lot
Kevin,
of energy,
let's
because
switch.
during my pregnancy with him, we were in truck up to the 9 months. We drive in a truck up and down. So he can't sit still.
I love it.
So you hear everything now. You want anything more?
Mommy,
No, that's all right. Thank you. I love you.
I thank you. I thank you.
All right, mommy, thanks.
You
Hey.
are most welcome.
You see,
All right, thanks. So,
thank you, Mommy. And tell everybody else in the
Alright.
family good night for me, and thank you for the support. And
Alright.
thank you for what you
No
have
problem.
done to help to mold this individual, Kass Smith, today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Y'all
Alright.
take care. All right?
Bye.
you're very bye.
All right, good night.
All right, I love it. Yeah, man. So there you have it. There you have it.
Yo,
Yeah.
hey. I have a brand new love for you, Trust me.
Family important, Family is important,
And
And
I don't know if anybody
right, I think
realize.
Huh?
I don't know how many people really realize and feel that energy that was just here, just now, in that moment. And anybody, if you missed it, don't worry. Go back and check tomorrow. Check the podcast. Check the YouTube. Go ahead and check. Just go to kevinstew.com and check the archive, because you're going to experience it there too, if you just missed it live. And there's that authenticity. You heard his sister-in-law talk about it. You heard his mother tell you every mother will look out for their child and tell the best thing of their children. But the man crashed the brand new car at 6. At
I
6.
used to be a little bit I was always looking for doing new stuff, and I pushed that with my kids, and years later on, I had a situation where I was actually flying as a passenger
Yes.
in an aircraft. Was from Kingston to Mobile, and then from Mobile to Negril. And we had a situation where there was a failure in the right engine. At that time, they were flying Islanders, and the Islanders had a door on the pilot side and a door behind. and they would sell all the seats, including the co-pilot seat, because it was a single operational plane, really.
Okay,
A single
okay.
pilot plane.
Okay.
So I would, as a friend of mine who was working at the counter at that time, her name was Audrey, and I would say, just send me the seat up front, and she would always send me the seat up front, because I was performing at Sanders in the Grill at that time. It was back in 1988, roughly. So basically, I would come in and
Gilbert
sit on
here.
the co-pilot side. Huh?
Gilbert here.
Yeah, man, Gilbert here. Gilbert licked Jamaica at that time.
Yeah.
So at that time, obviously I'm not a pilot. I don't know what is happening. Just looking at stuff, obviously I move stuff, and he would move the sticks, and at that time he moved the props, and I knew that afterwards, obviously,
Right.
And I used to fly a lot from Kingston to Montego Bay because I had a law class on the Friday, and I had to fly in order to get in time for the rehearsal at Sanders. So I would fly down and then fly back up on the Sunday evening.
Okay.
And that particular day, the pilot that was there was a big fat brother. Big old fat. And I said, boy, that brother should not fly and just look fat, he doesn't look like it healthy at all, Long story short, we're flying on the seat, there's oil coming out of the right engine. And we look at the right engine, because you can see it from the side.
Yeah.
Side.
Yeah.
And we look at the pilot, and I see him start moving the lever. I never know say my feather the engine. It's a process of actually, you pull back the prop in such a way where the prop goes like this, so it feathers.
Yes.
And what it does is that it stops it from moving, so it doesn't create that amount of drag on the aircraft. Obviously, at that time, I didn't know what it was. All I know is I moved things and the engine stopped bridging. And the first thing you know is that when I have an engine start, the plane going to come out of the sky and crash. So everybody on the back starts screaming out, and I'm looking at him, and I see that he's flustered. The man has sweat, and I'm tap on the thing, and I say, pan. And I say, what is pan business? And I say, at the time, basically, he was actually declaring an emergency at that time. Long story short, he lands the plane. The plane taxi past the actual place where it's supposed to stop, all the way to the end of the strip. The man kind of fainted up on the seat. And when we look, everybody come out of the plane. I could not come out of the plane because he's on this particular side. And him kind of fainted. I tried to wake him up, literally out of it. And the same gentleman that cleaned the actual strip, they put the bags up on the plane, come with a first aid kit and give him some smelling salts. And I said, Captain, it happened to you again? It had happened to him before.
Wow.
That was the day I decided I want to learn to fly. So when I went to Mexico, I contacted a flight school, and I learned to fly. I got my private license, and then I got my twin engine license and my instrument rating, and then I got my commercial license. Within that time, I bought my first aircraft, which was a Cessna 310. It's a twin engine aircraft. And I later got a 421, which is what I use for my business and for my show right now. So I fly all over Mexico. I fly also to the States as well too. And basically I fly to my shows, and I teach other people to do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I flight instructor and pilot was nowhere on that list.
Sorry, yeah, man.
I never would have thought it. Well, never would have thunk it. But I'm not surprised by it.
Right.
And
Grateful.
even with hearing your mom talk, anything that her children set out to do, they would give that support. And you being apparently the most adventurous of the lot. How many of you?
Actually, there are actually three of us. So it's my brother, my younger sister,
Right.
Marcia, Yellow Marcia, and Clive, who just turned 60, so we're coming for his birthday party. So that's the
Right.
three of us,
Right.
But
So
I'm the crazy one.
you're the middle child.
I'm the mad one, please.
So you the creative, the adventurous, and so you set out on your own journey, and anything that you came across that you decided that you were going to learn, you did. And apparently you learned it well. So here it was, you saw the pilot doing whatever he was doing, and that intrigued you, and you decided that you were going to learn to fly. Here you are, not only a pilot, but a flight instructor.
Well, not a real instructor. No, I don't have an instructor. I'm not really interested in instructing, but I teach friends of mine who are actual pilots who have to really brush up on a lot of techniques, because I do a lot of upset training in the States. A lot of upset training, so the engine failures and maneuvers that you would not normally do, but it save your life. So I do a lot of stuff with friends of mine who want to really brush up on their techniques. Yes, I do that.
Okay.
But I don't teach courses as much. I don't really have time for that as much, really.
Got you. Because that was going to be a part of the other question. Where you find time in 24 hours to do all of these things? But your clock kind of work different, apparently.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we really sleep like 4 hours a day, really, 4 to 5 hours. I don't really sleep more than 5 hours a day. And yes, I'm very active. I practice a lot of meditative techniques where you can actually regenerate the cells in your body with much less sleep. Your body really doesn't need 8 hours sleep. And most of those great leaders like Obama, for instance, would sleep for only 4 hours per day and was always rested. So it all has to do with how you put your body into the REM sleep stage. And there's a whole science behind that. The human body, the cells usually vibrate at a particular speed. Usually the cells vibrate at about 200,000 cycles per second. So somebody who's normal and healthy, the cells will vibrate about 200,000 cycles per second.
Yes.
When you're in love or when you're in an orgasmic state, like you have an orgasm where you go into that state,
Yes.
your cells vibrate at a very higher level of over 500,000 cycles per second. And once that goes into that state, you go into a different level of consciousness where you can actually see into different realms. And you can see what is called prana. And people talk about prana in the Bible, but they really understand what it is. Prana, you ever know when you look and you see like some little light around you, like some little star when you turn and then right next time the corner of your eyes?
Yeah.
You ever see those yet?
Yeah.
Right. That is actually prana floating around you. And you usually find it in beaches or in mountainous areas. Usually in a city you don't have that much, but usually in very green areas you might see these small little lights floating around you. And they're actually real. It's called prana. When you go into a state of consciousness where your energy is vibrating at a very high speed, your body has the potential of ingesting and bringing in more prana. So you're actually healing your body on a regular basis. What people really don't understand is that thoughts also, or emotions, or energy in motion, which is energy in movement, also can change the vibration of a cell. So usually certain emotions like hate, rage, guilt, sadness, or that actually vibrate very low.
Yes.
Guilt vibrates at about 38,000 cycles per second. Cancer vibrates at 42,000 cycles per second. So when you're into a state of guilt and you feel guilty for a particular thing, you're actually vibrating so low that you can actually generate cancer
cells.
So the whole, yes, totally. People don't really understand that they actually sometimes cause their own cancer. And they don't realize that the actual healing of it is from outside in, not from inside out. Could I explain that?
Please do.
People don't really understand.
I get it,
What
but
it is
please.
Yeah, man, you don't get it, but a lot of people don't get it. People believe so. Why? If you look at it, I think there's a whole conspiracy in terms of creating enough medicines to be sold. So what you do, you create a demand for the medicine. You understand me?
I talked about this just last week. Go on.
Huh?
Just last week, I talked about
I want to
this.
sell gas, so let's go and produce it. I mean, we're in a situation right now where we could actually revolutionize the whole world right now in terms of solar energy. The result that I'm building right now is called realdetalpa.com. REALDETALPA.com. Realdetalpa.com is my holistic resort I'm building in Mexico. It took me about 20 years to get all the permits because at that time my vision was a little bit too advanced in terms of what I chose to create at that time. I chose to create and build homes that will be totally self-sufficient on solar energy. And the idea was to build a 3.8 kilowatt system. But at that time, it took 42 panels to produce that. We're talking about way back in about 2004, 2003, them time. And the top of the house was not big enough to put the 42 panels. Right now, I do the same house that I designed at that time with only 6 panels. So at that time, 20 odd years ago, the technology did not catch up to where I wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Right. So what is happening right now, as I said, there's a whole movement where we can actually be emission free in a lot of aspects. We can actually build homes that do not have to be connected to the grid. Proof of it is my resort that I'm building right now. It's called Real Talpa. It's a totally net zero resort, totally off the grid. The whole sewage system, for instance, we use biodigesters and actually live organisms to actually regenerate the water to produce grey water to water the plants. Rainwater, we catch rainwater as well with pumps that pump it back up on the roof so they're used. And we use solar energy. And the home is a full home that works with a washing machine, a dryer. We have inverters with air conditioner and they work on solar energy. There's nothing pumping in there. And it's a proven fact. It exists. And right now, because of COVID, we have to slow down because people from all over the world are called them choose to move to Mexico right now. So I believe that there's a whole revolution that's happening. People are waking up to see that there's so many things that we can do to actually be off-grid, be safer. I mean, we plant our own food. I have a farm in Mexico, and we plant my own food. So we have bring in some sweet sap seed and have some sweet sap and custard apple. You understand? So we have a lot of Jamaican foods, breadfruit and ackee and star apple and sweet sap and jackfruit and nestberry and guinea and lychee and lohang and stuff, you know, on my farm. And my kids actually grew up learning to plant their own food.
Yes.
No farmer fertilizer, for instance.
Listen, I'm getting messages coming in on the text line. OMG, this guy is incredible.
Yeah.
I see
I'm
those
grateful.
stars all the time. Boy, you know, I can't even find the words. I can't find the words, Kass.
Thanks.
So hold on. I don't know if anybody else remember, you know, but I didn't forget. Talk to me about the pyramids.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to say right now is going to offend a lot of people.
Offend away.
But it's reality. In my house, there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you.
Mm-hmm.
You honestly believe that we are the only human beings, or we're the only species in the universe? As a matter of fact, we're one of the most backward and primitive beings in the planet. We have enough food and people are starving.
Yes.
We have enough love and there's so much hate. We have enough water and there's drought. We have enough sunshine and there's cold. We have not been able to control the amount of energy on the planet to move from one section to another section just out of greed, of hate, of rage, of jealousy, by not understanding that we are one. And once we understand that we are one, the whole concept changes. So when the NASA went to space and they took a photograph of space and they looked down at the pyramids, all the pyramids are basically based about 19 degrees north and south of the equator, the major ones. And they're actually aligned.
Yes.
And they were aligned from an overhead view. We're talking about thousands of years ago. Who what the Sophie let them view the Virgin? And people might say that from the earth they look at the stars and do it. No, it wasn't that. This was actually an overhead view that was actually plotted. And people don't understand that in Mexico, for instance, there's a pyramid in Mexico City. And there's another one called Chichen Itza, which is in close to the Merida. And one of the mysteries at that time was that the pharaoh in Mexico City would eat red snapper every day. And it's actually recorded in history. It's actually written on the walls. Now, red snapper, brethren, is a sea fish, you know, growing up on.
Right.
And Mexico City is nowhere near the sea. And they were saying that how could they transport it and it don't get spoiled for every day? And they say runners do it. Brethren, even if you run through bush, if you're a donkey and you run, it's going to take at least 7 days, 12 days to get it over here. So what they found out, and they knew at that time, which is most of the actual truth that's been hidden from us, was that there's an interdimensional connection between all the pyramids, where they can actually travel through chambers and connected. They're all connected. All of them are connected. And one of the things that they don't tell us is that the actual construction of the pyramids are based on nines. And 9 is a very powerful number. 9 by 9 by 9 by 9. So you take a 9 and you multiply by 2, what you get?
18.
All right. You add the 8 and the 1, what you get?
9.
Okay. 9 by 3, what you get? You get 36. You add the 6 and the 3, what you get?
9.
9 by 5.
Everything
45,
that you multiply by 9, you can
9
add
by
them
9,
and
you
get
get
9.
81. 8 and 1, what you get?
9.
And it goes on until infinity. It's right in front of us, but we cannot see it. And it's a powerful connection to other dimension. And there's a whole different of cosmic language that is there, that has been hidden from us deliberately, because it's in plain sight. It's in plain sight. You look at the American dollar, you're going to see the triangle on it. Because the triangle is the pyramidal power of connection to other dimensions.
Yes.
But it is hidden from us, hidden in plain sight. And it's actually written, it's on the walls of the pyramids, it's all there. But when the lies started coming out and people say, hold on, how come the Sphinx in Africa, it did a few 100,000 years, how come no nose on the planet? People say, oh, we never really realized that, you know. So how come it was eroded? Nothing else doing erode but only the nose, and then I realized it was a black man nose on it. It was a big nose as it. It's like the Olmecs. People talk about the Olmecs and the Olmec head. It's a Shaquille O'Neal look one. It's a big bald head that look like a Shaquille O'Neal type, Caromantin type head.
Yeah, man.
And that was the time about 30,000 years ago. It was found in Veracruz in Mexico. What are the Africans doing in Mexico at that time? Long before Christopher Columbus, which was a bigger liar as well too.
Yes.
What was he doing there? So when that came out in National Geographic back in the 30s, the end of the 30s and 40s, it kind of dumbfounded them because when they did the carbon test on it, they realized that this thing was actually pre-Columbus.
Right.
And it showed an African head. And it would mean rewriting history and rewriting and telling a lie that the Africans were actually there as a result of slavery, which was not true. You go to Veracruz and you see black man there, blacker than me. And they came long before Christopher Columbus came.
Yes.
So there's a message in there. There's a thing that we have here in Mexico. They call it tianguis, which tianguis is like a flea market. It's actually a mixture of a word which is from Nahuatl and from African, which is called tianguis. And everybody knows what the word tianguis means in Mexico. It's like a flea market. But the tianguis is actually a word that comes from the tango man from Africa, because they would actually travel the Atlantic in a bridge.
Yeah.
And come over here and trade at this time of the world. And they were the ones who actually taught the Mexicans basically about the Mayan calendar and basically connecting to other beings. And that's where the whole thing come. But when the white man come and see them things and say, yo, we can't tell them so intelligent enough to tell them so them come from the dark ages, please. So we have been lied to, you know.
The silk
my
trade.
songs speak about that.
Yeah, even the silk trade existed way before Columbus.
Long time.
And there's evidence of that. In fact, going up the Mississippi River, there's evidence of it. But
they would not admit it.
People don't talk about it.
But you know the good thing about Kevin is that it's changing. If you look right now, they're actually removing Columbus Day from a lot of the history. You know, they're saying that it was a lie. You know, they're removing it. So there's some form of people waking up to saying that, yo, something not right.
But they're changing it quietly.
Yes.
Because
it's very embarrassing.
Right. And not only that, it empowers those which they want to keep under a thumb.
Totally.
So if you do it quietly, then maybe, just maybe, they won't realize. They being us. Exactly. But then you have some people like you and myself that will say certain things that will go against the grain as we know it and ruffle some feathers.
That is correct.
But your voice kind of stronger than mine, you know, so I'll go with your voice.
Well, I guess we have to work with it together. You know, I think I cannot do it alone. As I said, the music for me is not about the money. It has never been about the money. It's about bringing this message. You know, there's another song on the album called Runaway. And basically says that, you know, I will run now, but I will come back. I will come back and fight for my children, for my grandchildren. You have treated me this particular way, you know, but I'll come back. There's another one called Be Still I Know. And basically it says you to go into silence to connect to the essence of God within you, you know. So it's a very powerful album. I think it's the best album I've done. I've done several of them, but this one is one that's a combination of everything that I'm doing right now to bring it up to a different level of consciousness and tell people to wake up, you know, wake up and look around you and you can make a choice. I think we have gone through 2 years of very serious situations as it relates to COVID.
Yes.
Everybody that I know have either had somebody who has died or know somebody who has had somebody who has died. And I think as a human race, we look at life now very differently. Life is so fragile that we have to live each day to the max. You know, we have spent so much time sometime in going into very delicate social fabric of what is supposed to be, how you're supposed to do this and how you're supposed to behave.
Yes.
And it's simple, you know, it's simple. When I look at me, don't even know basically my thing. I just go on and go through, and who's willing to learn will learn, and who don't, you cannot convert people who don't want to understand and wake up and see.
Right.
But I tell you this, as a black race, as Jamaicans, as Africans who are living this side of the world, we are very powerful people. We have very powerful genes, and we have a very strong and powerful history. And we have to bring that out and let people know not in a revolutionary form of way. I don't think that revolution can change anything. I think education is the key. And the more of our youngsters who can understand and see how powerful they are, it will let them look at a different perspective. I think most of the crime that is happening in Jamaica right now is about out of ignorance too.
Yes.
Not only in terms of the young people not understanding where they are, but also politicians not being able to really show these young people a different way of looking at life, Bridget. You look at it, and I'm not justifying anything. All I'm saying is that there's so many ways to create opportunities.
True.
And for us to make a change in Jamaica as it relates to crime and stuff, it has to be a generational change. It's not something that can happen tomorrow. We have to start from the kindergarten. We have to start from the school. We have to teach these little girls to protect themselves and proud themselves and don't get involved in sexual activity too young and don't use sex as some form of currency of exchange, because that's where the whole thing comes from. You know, I think we've gone to a very primitive way of actually expressing ourselves, and that in itself is creating a lot of problems that we're having right now. You know,
why holistic teaching? You could have gone history versus holistic.
Okay, all right. Let's first of all define what holistic means. You know, holistic, as it says, is be still and know that I am. Basically connect to the whole part of it, which is the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul. That's basically what holistic means. It means to encompass everything.
Yes.
Most of the healing that we know, especially in the Western environment, actually focus on the physical part of it. So you get a lot of doctors out there. I'm actually building a clinic right now. It's a region, it's a clinic right now as well. And there's a different perspective in terms of healing there. And what it focuses on is not only is healing the disease itself, but healing the cause of the disease. Because you can't cut a tumor out, you know. But if you do not heal the space where the tumor was created in, it will manifest again. So this is what happens, especially with cancer cells, for instance. And I'm speaking this from personal experience, you know, because my daughter at 9 years old, she had a tumor in her chest. The tumor was 3 pounds in her heart. So I've been through that. I've seen it. I've had personal experiences with that. So what happens is that a cell is actually vibrating. The cell is vibrating at about 200,000 cycles per second. When somebody gets sick, that cell vibrates downward. The vibration of the cell actually lowers. And what eventually happens is that the cell trying to survive will hang on and cling on toward the closest cell to it. And that close cell to it will actually lower in vibration. So if one is vibrating at 200,000 cycles and the other one is vibrating at 42, the one at 42 would actually raise up to about 100, and the one that's 200 will actually lower to about 100. So they kind of cancel out.
Right.
After a while, those two starts lowering. So they grab other cells and they grab other cells and they grab other cells. The body, as a reaction to that, to stop the spread of this, recognizes as something that is foreign to the body and actually form a skin around it to actually slow down the growth. And that is where a tumor is formed.
Right.
The body, a tumor is actually formed by the actual body actually fighting against it.
As a defense.
So it's a defense mechanism. So there is a consciousness in the body to do that. And the body does that naturally because we are actually healers. We are designed to heal ourselves. You understand me?
Right.
So when the doctors go in there and they actually cut out the tumor, the consciousness of the tumor is still in that particular space. See what I'm saying? Even though you remove the tumor, the consciousness of it is there because it's all energy, you see? Because we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. So one of the things that has to do when you heal cancer or you remove tumors, you have to actually remove that negative energy in that space, because what you're doing is that you're leaving that space for it to form again.
Right.
And that's why holistic healing is very important. And I've had situations with women who come to us and they've been in a situation where they have like ovarian cancer. And it was because they were raped when they were 7 years old by the uncle. And it's over and over and over again. So there's an emotional aspect to that that has to be healed as well. So you go in here, remove the ovary, take it out again. But the emotional aspect of actually writing a fire letter to the uncle and say, yo, you shouldn't do this to me, and blah, 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 blah. And going through the psychological part of it is part of the holistic healing. So that's why I do holistic.
You know, Kass, we need to talk a whole lot more. I just got a message here asking me to ask you about sound therapy.
Yes, sir.
So
you want to talk about that?
Do you do sound therapy?
Yes. We do sound therapy, we do color therapy as well. Sugarcane therapy. coconut therapy.
Talk to me about the sound
Right.
therapy
So,
because somebody asked
basically
about
sound
it.
therapy. Let me I won't go into details, go on a general basis so people can
Mm.
understand it. Basically, what it is that the body is vibrating. The body is vibrating at a particular speed.
Right.
Everything vibrates. The earth is vibrating. That sound
Yes.
is a vibration of the sound. When you take up a phone line, remember those old time phone that you dial and stuff?
You hear the
And
dial tone?
That dial tone. And it's
Yes.
like an A minor is actually the sound of the earth, of the grounding of the earth. So it's actually a sound. When people hear transformer go bzzz,
Yeah.
that's the sound of the earth, brethren. So there's a sound there, there's a vibration in there. We actually have electricity in our space. So what happens is that you can actually break up certain negative vibration in your body by a certain frequency of a vibration. And the frequency of the vibration is out of a particular sound. So
Right.
it can make a different sound. That's why people chant a lot. You hear the Rasta man, hear the words up. You see all them thing there?
Yeah.
A really sound therapy them are doing, you know.
Yes.
Them some of them repeat it, but not really understand. Says that's what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
The actual church, the Catholic church, do it so. And they will sing them song and they chant.
Yes.
Sound therapy that they do. But it kind of covered up in the Catholic religion. Like, no, it's supposed to do that. They do it, they mask it up.
Yeah.
So what sound therapy does is that you can put in a particular frequency of sound, and that particular frequency of sound can actually go in and reorganize a degenerative clone of cells in your body. And that's basically the theory behind it. All right.
Have you
Color
seen?
therapy. Color therapy. Huh?
Have you used this? You see where sound therapy has worked for individuals?
Totally. Mexico is on the forefront of healing cancer. A lot of people come from all over the world to do cancer therapy in Mexico. And they do one called plasma therapy. Have you heard of plasma therapy?
I have not heard of plasma therapy.
Okay, plasma therapy is cutting edge reality. And the cutting edge reality of it is that it's like a dialysis machine, but it's a much more advanced machine where actually you remove 700 milliliters of blood and you actually cleanse it, and it goes through a machine that actually takes out the bacteria out of the jaws in a plasma form.
Yes.
And when you look at the bag itself, I'll show it to you. It actually forms, like chicken noodle.
Yeah.
That's how the bacteria forms in the blood. And it comes together because it has an ionic charge on it. So it actually comes together.
Right.
And this particular thing will actually go into the heart and cause heart attacks. So when you do that, what you're doing is actually cleaning the blood of the body, but in a very high frequency way. And that's called plasma therapy. So we do that as well in the clinic as well. Color therapy as well in terms of bringing color into your space, because your chakras, you're familiar with chakras, right?
Yes.
All right, let me explain to people what chakras are, because them see them paint Jesus Christ with this halo around him head and say, what can I write? I'll cloud him up over my head, sir. What a round thing around him head. And people don't realize say is really I'm aura that, and we all have that.
Yes.
Every single one of us have an aura.
Yes.
The aura obviously might be dark, it might have holes in it or whatever, but we're all energetic beings. So we are made of light, see? So the light rays cross, and when the light rays cross 21 times, they form an energy center. And we have about 7 in the body, and we have several outside of the body. But these energy centers are actually connected to the function of particular stuff in your body. The liver, the kidney, the spleen, the intestines, your sexual organs, your sex drive, for instance, your heart, your ability to be able to speak, your throat chakra, your third eye, which is one of the most important ones. But them say you have only 5 senses. Lie! We have 6. We have an intuition, and they won't tell you. So you can't feel it. Like a little picnic go and say, boy, I'm in a light that man there now, ma'am. Don't say that is your uncle. I don't know what is it, but I don't like him.
Yeah.
5 years later, the uncle
Spirit not take.
Exactly. So we don't teach people that. And that's one of the things too, because that has been taken away from us as African children, because African man and African female within that environment as a child, first thing they do is they do what they call ground therapy. And ground therapy, you know what that means? Walk barefoot.
Grounding.
Connect to the ground, brethren. Feel it when it come.
Yep.
And we say, no, you don't want to be going to get up germs. On the contrary.
No.
And the biggest thing that my people want barefoot because them go beach all the while. Why? Because they connect to the ground and they can feel the vibration.
In a circuit that is not grounded, you don't have a complete circuit. You need to be grounded.
Totally. So that's very, very important, So another way of doing that is, color therapy. So we make sure that we have a spectrum of foods that have the colors constant. So yellows and greens, reds, yellows, cucumber, carrot, beetroot, cabbage, and we make sure that we always have that balance of color in our body, because our body is made up of light, and light requires color, and color would mimic itself and connect to itself. So it's all of that, you know. People call it Reiki, but my thing is a little bit more advanced than that. You know, we go to a totally different level of consciousness where that is concerned, to really help people to. And this is nothing that I'm teaching, you know. I'm just reminding you, because basically what is when I say you become a member, basically what you're doing is that you're remembering. In other words, you're coming back to the essence of the God within you. That's all it is.
Yes.
And we have forgotten, because religion kind of take us away from that, you know.
And you know, feel free to even touch on that, you know, because I tell people all the time, I grew up in church and everything, but I am not religious. Spiritual, yes.
Okay.
Religious, no.
Yes. All right. So let's touch on that. As I said, I apologize beforehand for anybody who might get offended, because you know I can understand we have a lot of staunch people here, who have decided not to question what they have been told. And there's a book called The Last Years of Jesus Christ. I mean, about the Maccabees and all of that. But there were several accounts of Jesus Christ. And one of the things that I asked was that in church, we said, well, Herod is trying to kill Jesus. I mean, this is me now. This is me at about 8 years old. I mean, I think about it, because you read, you know, you do Bible knowledge at school, and sharp, you know, I read the Bible, I know the Bible, and you know how much verse of the Bible and how much chapters in the Bible and Revelation and John 6 verse, and you know that, you don't think the competition I go on, you understand?
Quote scriptures and stuff.
And then I start, man, you can't quote scriptures, man, and then you start, hold on, something not sound right. Them say they will hide him. So me at the church, I read Bibles, and I look up and I see, boy, the man is white Jesus on the cross, blue eye. You understand me? I say, all right, cool. And then I say, boy, them came go hide in Ethiopia. And I say, hold on there. Ethiopia in the middle of Africa. All the one is little white people with blue eye go, yeah, they must find him. Wasn't he black, sir? You know, so they cut out a church. They get cut out a church long time in a brethren. Then call up and think by me and say, boy, me I work out, tell them me I wear shorts and thing, and or me I question the Bible and thing. And I say, well, and you can't care a white Jesus with blue eye and blonde hair go hide in front of a whole African village, and they don't find it. So the whole thing about the possibility of him being black came to my reality. So it's afterwards I start digging, I go deep, and I say, hold on there. It is not so far from the truth, you know. And then we start to realize a lot of other things in terms of, one man say, boy, Rasta man, I tell lie, and they might make up things and all them things. And I said, boy, hold on there. There was some truth to this thing, because they could not answer me at that pastor. I can't say name I know, because I'm still alive and I go back to me. I mean, so ask him some things, and I said, boy, just, you know, right, something off. So I went on to a deeper studies, you know. I studied a lot. I mean, apart from my degree, I went and I just did a lot of stuff. I did diplomas and masters and other stuff, and just delved into learning new stuff and actually questioning everything, you know. And I teach my children, never ever take anything from me. My son read the Celestine Prophecy. He has read a lot of books in terms of the law of attraction. He understand how to create energy with his hands and actually attract positive stuff in his life. I teach my children that. I teach them how to do transcendental meditation to actually connect to other spaces of reality, which we all do, but we forget, because we say, boy, you know what's dreams in Miss Mary? And Miss Mary say, so, brethren, I connect, you know, I realize, so yeah, I see that long time. You have a premonition, I go down, you know.
Yeah.
So, getting back to your question, I think there's the holistic teaching itself. It's something that I have been doing for some time, and I have a lot of people who have learned from me, and they're practicing in their life. Carleen, big up yourself. Teacher, big up yourself. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And they're practicing, and they've seen it. And there's something that is very important, which we call sikus. Could I continue on that, sir? You want to talk about the music?
You'll touch on the music in just a moment. Go on.
Right. So let's talk about the sikus. We have been coded. See, like how they brand the slaves in the Bible.
Yes.
In the slavery, boom, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. My last name is Smith, but my last name kind of get lost, you know. And basically everybody who named Bernard or John, so that actually names that were actually given to them. But the Kunta Kinte and the Kumar Maraj and all that thing, they kind of get lost in time. But the point is that we go to a space of getting programmed to fit a particular economic reality. And the economic reality was actually, the slave owners actually own that. So basically, how can you, please, sir, control 10,000 slaves And it's only 200 people as slave owners.
Yeah.
To the mind.
Yep.
Why is it that 94.5%, and this is a fact, of Jamaicans cannot swim? You ever ask that fact? Why? You go in anywhere, sir, and 9 out of 10 Jamaicans can't swim. Are we living on Highland, please?
A small one. A small one. With lots of water
you ever ask
inland.
that question? You know why? You know why?
Fear.
Okay, I'm going to explain to you why. I wrote a thesis on this, and I went to a lot of investigation. So the slave ship I come from Africa years ago. Caramantin slave, Igbo slave, all of them. Some big strong black man and them mix.
Yep.
They must see them wife and take them from them family. You stack up on each other like that. And you bring them on a ship and then there for 6-8 weeks and stuff. One, this man defecate and it fall out the mouth of the other one and he gets sick and then throw him overboard. And you want to plan a rebellion. And then realize, by the way, hold on there, you speak Igbo, okay, you're not supposed to stress. We want to make a stay over there so where you can't understand the man who sit beside you. And then separate them.
Right.
And the most rowdy slaves who tried to revolt were actually thrown overboard and were eaten by sharks. This is a reality. So there was an inborn fear of the water from that particular time.
Fear.
You go anybody and say, nobody go and see you go drown.
Yep.
Which Jamaican grandmother right now would tell you, so you have to go see because you go drown. So there was a fear, but where does the fear come from? The fear comes from way back into slavery days because there was a system that was specifically designed to keep the slaves in a situation where they could not escape because the water was used as a situation of fear for them.
Yes.
And that's why over 90% of Jamaicans cannot swim up to this day. There's no actual system in place where they say, boy, listen, church, we're going to come together. We're going to have swimming class and go beach and put up on bamboo stick and make them float and learn to swim. I learned to swim when I was 50 years old in Mexico. I nearly drowned 6 times in my life. The last time I nearly drowned is my daughter who was 12 years old who saved me. Because when me small, I build my pool and I pick them learn to swim when I'm small. But I could not swim. I was 50 years old when I learned to swim. I went back. When I go there, I go to the swimming pool. They purely pick the around me in a virgin. And me have this like a tube while I float upon and then I look for me like, Cassiano, you can't swim. Say, no, you know, whenever they cut and learn, I can't float. You can't float. You can't even swim. And people cannot understand a Jamaican who lives in Jamaica in an island cannot swim. But it's all psychological.
Yes.
We were actually brought up that way. So once you go back and you move yourself from the illusion of what you're told to the reality of what is, you start to wake up.
Yes.
And that's what I try to bring out in my music.
The unlearning.
Yes, sir.
How many tracks on the album? And
16.
It's funny because we're giving the album the least amount of time on this particular broadcast. I have to bring
That's all right, man. It's all right.
But,
run. Make it run. It's part of the whole thing.
But people are learning about Roger Lee or Roger Lynn?
Roger Yale.
Roger Yale. That's what it is. I have the letters, but they're in another order. So it's Roger Yale. The Yale part I didn't know, but the Cassiano.
Yeah, but man, name me after this Italian ambassador. You know, it's when common entrance come out and my name come up. Why embarrass me? My name come out in a paper, long name.
Really?
Yeah. So, what you doing, me so? Say, all right, you're going to come famous with that name. My mother would say, me say, yes, I'm sitting, you know,
see
30 years later.
See right there. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so here it is. You have the 16-track album that is coming out titled Journeys. And people have heard me play Journeys. And tonight they heard me play El Caso de Incendio.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more to come, and a lot of it is of you coming out in this album, as in aspects of you and things that you believe and things that you'd like to us, those hearing the album, those listening to the album, things that you'd want us to learn. Am I correct in my assessment?
That is correct. Basically, I think the only way we can have people wake up and move against this illusion is to actually get their attention to listen and go into a space. So the songs are coded. And when I say coded, there's a message in each song. There's a message in each song. It's actually written in English and Spanish. This is the first album that have patois, English and Spanish with translations in it. So the video that you saw in Class
Nice.
with Incendio has patois translated to Spanish, and English translated to Spanish, and Spanish translated to English. And this is the first album that exists that I know of, and we have actually investigated that, where we have that translation going on, and we're gonna go on a tour in Central and South America. We're gonna do Colombia as well too. And apart
Nice.
from the reggae thing, also do a big band show, which we do
Yes.
a tribute to, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Earth, Wind and Fire. And that's a big band that I have. There are 23 musicians and dancers on that. But this reggae show that I'm doing right now, which is a tour, we're going to be doing a show with Godi Band, Yellow Godi Band from Cancun. It's from Yardman. They're excellent band. They are actually going on tour with me. And basically the idea there is that we transmit the messages of the holistic teachings through the music. Some of them are cover versions. There are about 4 covers on the song. The other ones I wrote about 9 songs on it, and then 2 of them from other writers as well. Those are original songs as well. So there's Island Girl. It's a song that I wrote while I was at UWI. 1988, when Gilbert Lick, I wrote a song about Island Girl, which is a friend of mine who was studying medicine at that time, and it never really got through. She left and me tried to find her for years, and then finally I found her, and then I drifted apart and she had drifted apart. A love story.
Yeah.
Very interesting song itself, and this basically speaks of wherever you are, we remember those times, first love type stuff.
Yes.
And then there was So Good to You, which is another song. There is a cover version, Cuando Cuando, which is a original song. Not an original song, it was actually written back in the 60s. Dime cuando tú vendrás, que te adoro tanto, tanto. See that? And that was actually done by Natisha Stream, another Jamaican singer.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And then there's
Natisha.
Solamente una vez, ame la vida, a classic song from the 30s. Actually, I do that in reggae. And actually, Jawiz Simpana, Jawiz, I'm a Jamaican singer, a very good friend of mine, powerful. And then there's in Cuando Cuando, there's Rascano as well, in the little dance artist on that.
Nice.
And then Beauty Ras with Kass and Incendio. So it's a combination on it. And one of the most powerful songs of the album is a song that was written by myself and Teacher D, called
Big up
Pushing
Teacher.
You. Big up Teacher D. Teacher D is also studied with me and studied some holistic stuff with me, and he has actually implemented that and him a move. So Teacher D, this song Rastafari Way was on the last James Brown album. So we wrote that song together, and actually when he came to Mexico at my festival, I have a festival in Mexico called the Vallarta International Reggae Festival, Kass Smith and Friends. And I invited him some years ago, and he came in and we just record the video, same place at Vallarta. So that one was on the top 10 charts. Just before COVID lick,
Yes.
we had a tour that we planned to go Europe. We're doing 16, we're doing countries all over. So we're going to Denmark and Switzerland and stuff, but that got cancelled because of COVID. So we start doing that again to do a tour in Europe as well. And that was another collab with Teacher D, and going to Africa as well to do that. So, grateful, it's moving. The album has that energy to it.
Yes. You might have to do a unity tour and you go to Europe.
Yeah, man. That's the plan.
Boy. How can people get in touch with Kass Smith? How can they get your material? How can they learn?
All right,
more
so the
if they
album,
want to?
the album will be released on the 1st of April. You can get it on Spotify. It's all over the place,
Yes.
Spotify. My Instagram is Kass Smith Official. Facebook is Kass Smith. You can check that out as well. And then there's Twitter at Kass Smith. And it's just look it up and search it up. There's a lot of videos there on YouTube. If you put in Kass Smith or you put in Cassiano, Kassiano, it will come up, because my full name is Cassiano Smith. So we just abbreviate it there. So it's just on all the platforms.
Why, Kass, like I said, this connection here is one that has to remain. It has to, because this is organic. Everything that has happened here, we spoke via a third party. Big ups to Jen.
Yes, Jen, big up yourself. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, big ups to Jen Cheshire. And so it's actually the very first time that we're meeting each other.
Yes.
And I see this relationship growing from strength to strength because there's too much commonality here. And if you go and check any of my broadcasts in my archive, you will see what I'm talking about. Whether
I did actually, I did.
right. So brother, it's a pleasure meeting you, my brother. It's a
Pleasure's
pleasure.
mine. Thank you so much for
meeting
this
you.
opportunity. And as I said, I'm looking forward to actually reaching out. I always invite people after I do interviews to feel free to reach out to me, on my platforms as well. I think the music here is an instrument of power to actually help people to heal and teach people.
Yes.
And most of us to wake up to see who we are, because most of us are lost, not because of choice, but because we have been placed in a situation where you then say you don't know better, and
Yes.
you just basically do what you've been told to do. And before we go, I'd like to explain to you what I was mentioning to you about the negative programming. We have been programmed, and we call them SICUs. And the SICUs is SICUUUU, which is secret, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, unacknowledged, and undisclosed codes. These are codes that we get drilled into us, which is like, if you want good, you know exactly run. So basically,
Why?
you believe that for you to be abundant, you have to work hard and kill out yourself.
Can't have your
and
cake
get
and
two
eat it
jobs.
too.
Yes, sir, can't have your kid. Yeah, can't have your cake and eat it. Love of money is the root of all evil. We have so many of them that were actually ingrained in us as slaves
Yes.
to keep us into a state of lack. That now, 200 years later, we're still repeating them and we still actually apply them to our reality. And that is one of my purposes here, to help people to wake up to say, well, this is not true. We can actually reprogram the subconscious mind to create the highest manifestation of unlimited emotional, physical, and financial abundance.
Yes.
Don't let them tell you that financial abundance is important, Bridget. If you are chatbot and you're going to lotus position and you meditate and you go so you can't pay your rent, you get joked. Excuse me, French.
It's true.
So the financial it's very important because we're a third dimensional reality. And what they will let you know is that the love of money is the root of all evil, and the pastor drive the man up on the top of the hill, or the Vatican up there, getting all of this money into their coffers and stuff. Let me tell you a story real quick. I was doing time building back in the early 90s. Time building means that you're actually flying and basically get the opportunity to fly. And I got the opportunity to fly for an air taxi. And one of the things that we would do was that they would go to a small town that's called Talpa de Allende. That's where I'm building my resort right now. It's a religious town where they say the Virgin appeared back in the 1500s, 1544. And in 1644, sorry. And the whole church, Virgin, the whole roof of the church is gold. Me say, that's Jamaica, man, not going to and just dig it off of the wall. The whole roof of the church is actually gold. Because this is gold country. There's a lot of gold, like silver and quartz in there. And people give away so much money to this church that we would have to fly out the money in the plane. It was a Cessna 402 at that time. And the money was actually brought to Tepic and actually sent to the Vatican. So I always look at people, most of the people who were giving money were very poor people, very, very dirt poor. They give out the last money upon them back as an exchange for penance from the church itself.
Yes.
And the reality of that just really hit me very, very hard, where it was a business. And the whole thing was designed as a business. And my idea here is to help people to wake up and say that, yo, when you wake up here, sir, there's nothing wrong with being emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially abundant. As long as you're in balance. You have to be in balance where this is concerned.
Yes.
But it's very important because we're in a third dimensional reality. So that is my message, and I send it out through the music as well.
Brethren, I can't wait to hear this whole album. I'm so waiting. I cannot wait. And then I'm gonna have you back some real soon. We're gonna talk. We're going to have to talk again because there's so much. There's so much for us to learn, and I'm getting messages. Books being that you've mentioned that have been read, and there's reason for the gold in on the buildings and all. I'm getting all kind of messages, and
nice.
This has been an amazing journey, Kass. I truly appreciate of you taking the time out to interact with me. You're there in Connecticut on a family weekend, a family outing, you know, a family for a family event, and you're taking time to extend your family, because welcoming me in is you know, is not just say, boy, you know, I mean, just share part of my life with him, and your mom calling in and you know, feel sharing that love with all of us, your sister-in-law, we feel all of that love.
Bless.
And so the energy is positive, and I have a positive feeling moving forward from this encounter, which was years in the making. We just didn't know it.
So true, so true. As I said, there's no coincidence.
True. And that was the very first thing you started off with. I saw this morning. A friend of mine, I refer to her a lot when I do my health broadcast. She wrote 2 books, one called Eat, Sleep, Meditate, one called Share. Simple, healthy, inexpensive recipes. I left out a letter, but that's the basic idea. And she made this post this morning. I don't know who wrote it, but it stood out to me. When diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. And you touched on that a little bit, talking about energy and putting the body in a state of ease to counteract dis-ease. And so that came to mind, and I wanted to share that for anybody that it would resonate with, as part of all that has been shared tonight, or this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. Kass, I'm going to close out with Journeys, and I want you to introduce it for me, please.
From the heart, man. From the heart. This song was written back in 1998. I dedicate this song to my family, to my kids. It's a very dear song to me, and basically, as a father, as a husband, as a family man, as anything that we really connect to in this third dimensional space, we do and we go beyond to make sure that they're protected and they're safe. This song was written, Journeys, it's from the heart, and it actually tells my life story. Bless up, just Kass Smith with you guys, Journeys. First of April, releasing of the album, Journeys. This one's number 1. Hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kass Smith. The track is called Journeys. Thank you, Kass. This will be our abbreviated musical therapy segment, because I usually close out the broadcast with musical therapy, you know. And yeah, it's a thing that I do. So this is closing out our broadcast tonight, our musical therapy, and it's going to be really abbreviated. We just have about 4 minutes. Much thanks to my affiliates, One Harmony Radio in the UK, NIE Radio to New Jersey. Big up the motivator, enough love, my brother. Island Worldwide out of New York, China Nicole, Gary Sutherland, much love to you. The Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com, WGLRO, Danny Walker, much love. Hollywood Radio, Do Stick Media Group, PEMGTV.com, Zeno FM, all the affiliates known and unknown. If I didn't mention you, I do apologize. I love you same way. Much love to you, Kass. More blessings, more blessings, more blessings.
Gratitude, bless.
All right, taking this one more from the top. Kass, take care. We'll be in touch.
Bless up.
His name is Kass Smith.
Long journey through the pages of time.
Album coming April 1.
The mirror of my mind shows a barren land where the sun don't shine. They've been fools around me to imprison my soul. The light that shoots from within me, these chains will never hold me. Way oh, na 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 na. Way oh, na na na. day. Third world children are starving while they throw tons of food away. Politics, bureaucracy, Babylon with the mental slavery. The blood of the innocent run deep in the river of despair. We say, way-oh, way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, way-oh, na-na-na-na-na. Way-oh, way-oh, na-na-na-na-na.
As we get on out of here, I do want to remind you all to look out for members of your community. Remember, your community is not just development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those as you pass on the bus, on the plane, the boat or the train, whether you walk, ride or drive, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's gonna do something good for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stew. This is how I like to do it to you, for you, and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew.
Time has passed, but everything remains the same.
In the background, the sound of Kass Smith. A track called Journeys. The album of the same name becomes available April 1. Connect with them on social media. Drop him a line and say, listen, I need to get some more of your learnings. How can I get it? How I can get to your retreat? How can I connect to you on a regular basis? It's Kass Smith. Doesn't get any more simple than that. But trust and believe, the complexity lies in its simplicity. Take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you all a good night.
Children shall fight against slavery. Soldiers of peace, we shall march through the promised land. We say, way-oh, way-oh, na-na-na-na-na.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.